Oh, hey there. So today's video is going to be a little different in that I woke up this morning and saw the news posted that the fine gentleman at Novation had posted a firmware update for the circuit. Number 1.5 came out today. So I've downloaded it. I read the release notes, and at first I thought, well, that doesn't sound like very much. We'll get into the changes, and here you see one, which is synth patch preview. You just when you hit the patch, it plays a sample tone, and if the tone is if the sound is monophonic, it plays a single note, obviously. If it's polyphonic, though, it plays multiple notes, which was one of my big beefs about the circuit, was that you couldn't tell from looking at this thing which of these patches were mono or poly. This actually is better than my idea of coloring them differently because you can actually preview them easily. So this is a great update. I think this is actually really makes the thing a lot more usable and is fantastic. It didn't sound like much when I first heard it, when I first read about it, but it's great. And then the thing that sounded more exciting to me, although also didn't sound huge, but I think is actually pretty huge in final analysis, is fractional gates. And basically what that means is that the length of a note can be less than a 16th note, which prior to this firmware update was not the case. And it actually was a big drawback. I think I mentioned it in one of my other videos. And I think I mentioned that the workaround that I was using to get notes that were shorter than a 16th note, which is really kind of long. You can't get really a staccato sound with holding a note up for an entire 16th note. Was to find patches that gave you access to the sustained part of the envelope, and you just cut off the sound. Find a sustained length that was about the length of the note that you wanted. It worked okay. The downside was all your notes were that length then. This is actually pretty cool, and we're going to see it here in a second, how it works. But basically, I don't know how many fractions there are exactly. I probably should have looked that up before I recorded this, but no big deal, really. Fact of the matter is, there's multiple shorter lengths than a 16th note that a note can have. And here I'm trying to really play a staccato little bass line kind of thing, right? And just test out how it records, because it both records and is step editable in fractional gates. Which is pretty cool. And they came up with a pretty good interface for the editing as well, which we're going to see if I can ever get anything recorded in here that's halfway decent, which may take me a couple tries. But basically the gate editor, which is something that I don't use very often, or at least in the past I haven't used it very often, controls how long a note is held. And it used to be that you could just do 1 16th note to 16 16th notes, or a whole bar, a whole note. Now, hitting one of the pads multiple times will actually change its intensity, the intensity of the light, which indicates how much shorter than a 16th note that pad plays, or if it plays an entire 16th. Here you can kind of see it. You can see how the pads get lighter and darker based on the length of the note. This is really cool, actually. This makes this box a lot more expressive, I think. This is the only thing I've done it on it so far, but already I'm feeling like it's just kind of capturing more of the idea, the sound of the groove in my head, because, especially with the bass line, the groove is a lot about how long the notes are, in addition to, when the notes start. It's also about when the notes end. It's a big part of a groove. It's something that I've really learned as a bass player. Here I'm just trying to get this 4-bar pattern in here, kind of how I want it. Ignore my texts. I tried to use the nudge here to get it to where I wanted it. I was kind of hoping I wouldn't have to really go through and figure out what all the steps were from what I had played. But I think, I don't know, Nudge didn't really quite get it either. It helped me kind of see where things were lining up, though. But I did have to mess around with this a bit. I could have slowed it down and played it better, which maybe ultimately would have been a better approach on this one. I also didn't have like much idea of what the line that I was trying to play was, and I was kind of liking how some of my misplayed notes were giving it sort of a more robotic sound the way they recorded. So I wanted to try to work with what I was getting here. Here I decided to break it down a little more, so hopefully I could, and I still missed the one somehow. One more time. Hopefully we can lay down at least the first bar satisfactorily and build off of that. I can fix that. All right. Like, that's much more staccato than I think the circuit could have played, other than if you really messed around with the sustain of the patch, which again, as this pattern develops, I have different sustains, on different notes, which really gives it, like I say, more of a groove and a little less of a machiney kind of feel. Sometimes you want the machiney feel for sure. But it's nice to be able to not always be so locked into that grid, or at least be locked into a finer grid. So I guess more to the point. Really, it's kind of a philosophical question, right? Is there a grid so fine that it's indistinguishable from not being locked into a grid at all? That's really, I guess, how digital resolution works in audio and video. That's kind of the idea, right? We get higher and higher bit rates and resolutions, and eventually the grid disappears. This is sounding a little better now. Like I say, probably the better way to approach this would have been to just slow the tempo down and play it in better, because I end up having to screw around for a good while with the step editor, which, it's good experience. It's good to be able to use the step editor effectively. And this one's not that bad to work with, really. I mean, considering there's no screen, it's pretty great to work with. But, you do have to kind of then put in a little bit of effort to connect what you're seeing with your eyes with what you're hearing in your ears and what you're hearing in your head, which can be challenging. Here I'm just trying to figure out how does the next bar go, really? Or how might it go? Who knows how it'll actually go, right? One more bar now, and we've got the whole 4-bar bass line. Just like always, it's a collaborative effort between myself and the machine. We're discovering the music together. That's pretty close. Very end there, I think, could be a little better, a little tighter. Yeah, that's not quite right. See if I could just fix that. And then I think we can move on from this bass line, which is honestly taking a little longer than I would have liked. I like how it's sounding. Slightly Kraftwerky, I think. Kind of reminds me of a little bit. It's partially that just hi-hat metronome I've got going, though. I think that makes me think of Kraftwerk. This is a seminal electronic music band. If you're not familiar with them, you should go watch some Kraftwerk with a K videos right now. And really think about how they were doing what they were doing when they were doing it. It's pretty incredible stuff. Cool guys. I think they're cool guys. I've never met them, obviously. I hope they're cool. I like to think that artists that I like are cool. I know that's not always the case. Here I'm messing with that fractional gate and trying to get the groove that I want. And I did get it. That sounds good. So let's hear all four now. Yeah. That's kind of a cool little groove. I like it. Just looking for some good drum sounds. Kind of old school hip hoppy kind of thing I came up with there, I guess. Sounds like some, Curtis Blow would come in on or something. Let's get 4 bars for this too, and let's hit it. Make sure we know. This is one thing, like you find 2 cool sounds you like, and then you look away for a second and you can't remember which freaking buttons it was. It's a bummer. Not a deal breaker. I don't think the fractional gate thing even applies on the drums. I don't know if they have gates. Maybe they do. Might be interesting. Try and mess around with. I never really thought about it until just now. Maybe next time. Too similar to the bass and snare line I have going, I think. Mix it up a little bit here. Throw the open hi-hat on the offbeat. That's a little more swinging, I think. Let's try that again. Okay, here we go. I didn't even have the right number of bars selected there, so it's okay. Here we go. fatten up the beat a little bit with another bass and snare line. That would be a good idea. Drum true is free. Always hard finding two different bass drum and snare drum sounds that go together. Obviously, it's not a particularly traditional thing to do, but I kind of find anything you can do to fatten up the sound on this thing helps. Yeah, funky drummer. Seems like a lot of bass drum though. What if I just played a hat hits on that or something, I wonder. Maybe a different butt drum sound. I like that punchy kick, but I think it's a little much here. Trying to slip something in with the existing line that I've got. Doesn't need to be too busy. Trying to strip it down. Here we go. A little bit of that bass drum, but just a little bit. I think it'll work. Not bad. Alright, now we need some kind of a keyboard line, a pad, or something. That sounds like Shakedown Street. I like that actually. Bet we can work with that. Really have no idea what I'm going to do here. See what sounds cool with this sound. Work something out with this here. Stick with the 4-bar length. That's not what I meant to do. That note's wrong. Alright, let's just fix that one note. I'm also off. How did I start it on the wrong measure? Alright, I can fix that too with the duplicate button. Close. Okay. That's closer. Yeah. I wonder the harmonies for that. Ooh, I like anticipating the one like that. Yeah. It's coming in on the last and of the measure before rather than on the 1. I think I want to change that second bar to do the same thing. There we go. Yeah. Let's find some more harmonies to throw in there. It's cool, but I don't think I timed it quite right. Yeah, you can see I was off. Okay. I could fix this in the step editor, I think. 1 second. There we go. I think that's right. Same problem. Same problem, alright. Same fix. Yeah. Wait, was that the right note? No, it wasn't the right note. That's where I gotta. This is wrong. Just zoom in on that bar for a second here and figure out what. That bar and figure out what we did wrong. Yeah, there we go. That's, I think, right. Yeah. Well, that was weird, but shouldn't do that again. Let's get some more harmonies going like this. Record. Hey, actually in time. Let's add something else. Let's mess with these sounds a little bit, fine-tune this thing. It's a pretty cool sound. Change the speed of the oscillator with that one. I always like that. Try to get that in time with the music. One fashion or another. And some kind of cutoff. Let's just leave that open. Like a chorus. Whoa. I don't know about that one. You know, actually, that's kind of a cool, I'm not sure what exactly that's doing. Some kind of modulation on the pitch or something. I don't know. That's a cool effect, actually. We're going to leave that one in. Figure out how to dial it in. I think this knob must be modifying multiple parameters. That sounds cool, though. Very spacey. Just throw a tiny bit of effects on this one. I don't think it needs a lot. Maybe fix the mix a bit first. That sounds pretty good. Sidechain. Yeah, sometimes the sidechain just makes it sound like it's underwater. Let's add a little reverb, maybe a short delay to fatten things up a bit. Yeah, just a little bit. That's pretty much it. Call it done. Well, hey, thanks for watching. Play it out for you. If you liked it, click that subscribe or like button.